What's cracking, everybody, and welcome to episode 115 of the Good Kraken podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Nell Pearson, alongside the five-star man, Devin Stanford. What's happening, baby?
I won. I won. You said it.
Yeah, I gave it to you. I was like, yeah, sure, fine. He's not swiping as much as he was swiping before. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not actually.
He's not. He very much isn't, which is why I'm going to allow us to retire the name. Unfortunately, though, I come to find out the other day that there's already a five-star man. There's a five-star man already.
I heard that. And I'm not pleased with it because here's the thing. I've never heard that person write in before on that podcast.
Hey, you're right. You're 100% correct. That
so in my mind, I'm the OG. You know what I'm saying? So
well, I'm just saying.
And look,
you might want to consider the 10-star man.
We're not doing the 10-star man.
That was the look on the trail.
No. See it. I'm saying I've never heard of him before. There's no physical video evidence of this so-called imposter here.
He has 35,000 followers on Twitter.
Or how do you not know that that's really just been me the whole time?
You know,
have we seen Devin, the five-star man, and the five-star man in the same room together? No, we haven't.
No, can't say I have.
He's on
Say I have.
Xander.
We may want to retire the five-star man.
okay.
So I did a quick Google search, and the five-star man, the five passions of authentic manhood. In five-star man, the five passions of authentic manhood, Neil Kennedy digs deep into the five passions of authentic manhood. When God created man, he placed within him a deep reservoir of purpose.
Damn it.
Flowing within that reservoir is a commodity worth more than gold.
Oh, damn it.
All right. We're going to rewind here. We're going back to the inevitable one, okay?
The inevitable one it is. I love it.
We're rewinding, all right? I rescind everything I just said.
That is okay. We're fucking
I
getting
rescind everything.
The one below the inevitable one himself is the queen of bitchin', Genesee Gabrielle. How are you, boo-boo?
I'm great. How are you, honey?
Oh, we're doing good. The inevitable one is finding things out. That's what he's doing. He's doing the thing, and that's okay. That's okay. The inevitable one is totally fine. I think that's totally fine. That is. He was the case because I brought up that name originally because of our conversations between me and Devin of being like, over time we kind of just figured like eventually it would just come to this. It was inevitable that it would happen for me and Devin to partner up and start Good Kraken. And now we have the whole family here. You know what I mean? Like the whole family's here to talk about some wonderful, wonderful shit. And it wouldn't have happened if Devin was still the five-star man. Next to Genesee, we have the Cherry Blossom, the Crimson Shin, the Vermilion Beard, Garrick Eakin. What's happened, baby?
Chillin' dog. Really excited to talk about this movie today because
goddamn.
2 hours and 6 minutes of pure excitement.
It's gonna be a fun fucking conversation today. You know what I'm saying, guys? Fucking good, dude. And then lastly, we have my little Thai peanut. It's Xander.
What?
Oh, God. His camera zoom really is way off center.
He was not ready for that.
I love it.
I'm having a little wardrobe malfunction with my sleeve here. Hold on.
Apparently.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, baby? You have a new little setup in there. It's looking good, my guy.
Yeah.
You have a lot of
I was
tubs
blessed.
of advanced. Jesus Christ.
It's Rogue Energy.
Oh, is it? Oh, is it?
For today only. It's Rogue Energy.
Yeah. Actually, I bought a tub of Rogue yesterday. Actually, I got that that mango.
Did you get the sour candy?
No.
I
ended up getting. Yeah, I ended up getting
sour
the
candy.
There is.
It's a new flavor. It just dropped.
Oh, it's a flavor, so it's not actually sour candy.
No, it's a flavor.
Sour
cherry. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, that good old rogue energy. Yeah, what you
good old rogue energy.
Use code G Kraken to get 10% off. All that. It's rogue. It's rogue back there.
Yeah. And here is a link for all of you out there wondering about that.
You guys can hit that. Smash that link in our chat there. There you go. For all those bots that are watching our video right now, you guys can click that rogue energy if you want 10% off. We see you seeing us. You know what I'm saying? We're not blind out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Guys, we have
an eye on you.
Guys, we have a very fun and special episode that we're doing out here today. It's gonna be good. We all got a chance to go see a very awesome movie in the theaters the other day. It's been movie season out here, guys. It's been fucking movie season out here because for about a month we were real slow on video game content because there was just nothing coming out for May, and now we're rolling into movie shit. It's just wild out here, dude. It's wild. Like I know
it's almost like it's madness.
Shut up.
I'm really upset you did that. I'm a little upset that you did that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not upset about you guys watching us at home because today we're talking zombies. But not yet. The Summer Games Mess, the review of Madness, and much, much more, because this is a Good Kraken podcast, your choice for all the nerdy video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you want to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 12 p.m. If you're riding this wave, you can head on over to patreon.com/GoodKrakenShow, where you can submit questions and topics of the show, get exclusive post-show content, and have early access episodes before they go live on podcast and video services across the digital sea.
Yeah.
But if you've emptied your pockets for the latest and greatest in entertainment, that is totally fine. You can watch us record this show live right here at twitch.tv/GoodKrakenShow. If you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime, and we would love for you to give that to us to help keep us pushing content out for all of you listening and or watching at home. But you can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, by clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation mark and leaving a review there. Zader! We have some captain's orders, my friend. First off, guys, our 2022 Good Kraken Olympics is up and running over on our YouTube channel. You guys can watch the fuckery that was that event over there. You'll see the big old thumbnail there of the GK 2022 Olympics. It was a damn good time. It was me and one DJ Simfix over there hosting and commentating over the great and wonderful athletes that were Devin, the inevitable one, Stanford, and Garrick B. Eaton, and the mysterious one, Chase, a beard, was over there, and they were competing.
He likes video games.
Yeah, he does like video games.
Did we actually see his face? Did it happen?
No.
He was off.
There's no face reveal. No face reveal yet, unfortunately. But he
He's
did
not
win.
real.
He did win the official GK gold medal of 2022.
Yeah,
he is the winner of the Good Kraken, the Good Kraken Olympics.
Good Kraken, winner of the Good Kraken Olympics.
The good Crippen. He's like,
Jesus Christ, is that what we are in alternate universes? If we were to traverse the multiverse of madness, would that be one of our versions?
I would 100% talk like this. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, this is how it would be. This is how it would be, you know.
I don't like that. And the next Saturday, May 14th, you guys can join us for our special guest, Michael Higham of Fanbyte will be here to talk about some nerdy news that you guys love, as well as talk about AAPI Heritage Month going in as some very, very awesome stuff we're coming out of that. It's going to be just about the 1 year anniversary of the follow-up for the very first episode of Good Kraken that we had, and Mike is going to be here to talk about nerdy news as well as being Filipino in the games industry, so that's going to be a very fun episode. Mike's great. He's fucking great goddamn dude. He's hilarious. I hope you guys come out and hang out with us for that. So in the meantime, Devin, tell the people at home what we have next, my guy.
We got some news for y'all at the Helm.
Garrick, what is the Helm and what is our first story, Garrick?
The Helm is our news segment where we go ahead and we compile the juiciest news tidbits about video games, film, and pop culture throughout the last week. And we put it in nice little bite-sized chunks for you guys listening at home. And with that being said, our first story today is the day before Steam's most wishlisted game shifts to Unreal Engine 5, but gets a delay. And this is coming from Joe Screbbles at IGN. The day before, the open world survival MMO, currently sitting at the top of Steam's most wishlisted games chart, is switching to Unreal Engine 5, but will be delayed to March 1st, 2023 as a result. Revealed exclusively with IGN, developer Fantastic has released a statement explaining millions of people have added the day before to their wish list, making the day before one of the most anticipated games in the world. Feeling and understanding the great responsibility that we face, with enormous gratitude in our hearts, we are pleased to announce that the day before is switching to the Unreal Engine 5 technology. The transition is a bit more advanced, and adapted open world engines will make the gameplay of the day before even more fantastic.
So show of hands, who's fucking stoked about this game? God damn, is it gonna be fucking good? Xander's like, maybe a little bit, dude.
So have you seen gameplay for this yet?
I certainly have. I certainly
yeah.
Dude,
so this game is like The Last of Us and The Division put together.
Yep.
God damn, I need it. I need it in my life, dude.
look at Xander's face. He's like, wait, what?
With just like a sprinkle of Daisy in there.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
I've been talking about this game with Ernell for over a year now. Before we even did this podcast, we talked about it because one of us posted about it on Facebook, and it was like,
oh, dude,
it's on my wish list.
Yeah, dude, we've been on this for a while because, like, obviously we love both of those games. Yeah, dude, so like,
this is my type of game, 100%.
I'm wanting it to be something very specific before I'm completely sold. And Devin knows this. I'm very like kind of like in this weird iffy spot where like I need it to be a certain way. Otherwise I'm not going to be as in love with it as I want to be. But I do think it looks fucking beautiful, and I think it's going to rock this goddamn video game industry because people are really, really hoping for this to fucking bop. Garrick, what part of this are you like most excited for?
Honestly, I'm just really like the fact that this is going to be an MMO project, like an open world survival MMO project, is something that's like the part that really thrilled me. I will tote that zombie carrying flag of this podcast till the day I die. I am always about new zombie titles in any way, shape, and form. So like the fact that like we're going to get to see that, I think in my heart of hearts, I really want this game to kind of end up being like what you would expect like the first 2-3 seasons of The Walking Dead to be, but in an open world video game. Like that's the vision I have in my head of what I would think I would like it to be.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I'm really curious. I want to see a little bit more, but like concept alone is amazing. Devin and I have already kind of like watched some YouTube stuff about like people throwing older games into the Unreal Engine 5 Den kit. We actually watched one with where they threw Ocarina of Time, because that Ocarina of Time always gets put into the new Unreal Engine.
Right.
And like hot damn, like if I'm really excited to see some bigger, more ambitious games getting put into this engine.
Dude, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Xander, are you sold?
I don't know, because I have, over the years, I've found that I'm a very simplistic gamer. When it comes to stuff, I like the shooty pew pews, and the repetitive shooty pew pew. So I don't know. I do want to branch out. This definitely seems like something that could potentially rope me in, with that MMO background. So yeah.
Okay, Devin, go ahead.
I'll give you a small little rundown on how the game is going to be. So, like, obviously, you have your squad. You run as a squad. You know, kind of similar to Division. I'm assuming it's going to be like 4 to 6 people. My assumption. the gameplay is very much like in the sense of like finding like zombies and different types of zombies like around, and like they interact with you differently, like based on sound and sight and stuff like that. I don't know if they're going to have abilities like based in like a Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood style game yet. But we do know there's going to be other groups of people wandering around too. And the way that those interactions go, obviously, is however you guys play, because like people are going to want to rob people just like they do in DayZ. You know, there's going to be ailments in the game. There's going to be broken bones. You're going to have to use like certain medicines and like bandagings and stuff like that to heal yourself. You'll probably be able to break your leg and stuff. And that can happen too with just like shooting each other. Like, you know, you get shot in the leg, your leg's also broken and you have to repair it a certain way. It's going to be a pretty hardcore survival kind of experience, but with a lot of RPG elements and third-person shooting.
Yeah. Which is kind of like, you know, generally what I would like, you know, but it's like it kind of depends on like the level of survivability that they take it that I'm like worried about. Because like I do want it to be survival, and I want it to feel survival, and I want it to feel stressful in this world that looks as stunning as it fucking looks. I don't necessarily want it to be a complete free for all, because that I know is going to take away for a lot of people like what they would want from this. But who knows? You know. Yeah, Garrett, go ahead.
Yeah, it needs to be not like New World in terms of like the PvP. It needs to be not like New World.
Right.
Because we see how like that kind of played out, where like New World has almost complete player control over like the economy and the way like the environments interact.
Yeah.
It needs to be a tighter structure than that, so we don't have issues like the Division 2's Dark Zones.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I have that word, because as someone who was absolutely fucking in love with the Division, unlike Devin, I can see where I can see where the problems could potentially lie. Devin, you know I know you love the Division. You don't have to fucking defend yourself. It's okay. I can see where reflective of how the Dark Zone was in both the Division 1 and the Division 2, having a game that is that hostile and that level of competitive, and having to force all players to do that could be worrisome. I would prefer if they do it like DayZ, where it's dependent on the server. And it's dependent on how they go about it. But given that this game is more than likely going to hit consoles as well, Devin, can you confirm? Do you know?
All platforms.
I'd have to. I do not know that information off the top of my head, but I can look it up. I mean, I'm probably gonna get it on PC personally.
Well, what we'll do, Garrick, I'll have you confirm for me, and because we need to move into the next story. Go ahead, Garrick.
It's on all platforms.
Okay.
Oh, it is.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because of
it's
such
crossplay.
They're
that I don't know. Obviously, excluding the Switch, I don't feel like that needs to be said, but I'm going to say it.
Sure. Yeah. I think because it's going to be on all consoles, they're going to have to come up with something that is universal, because consoles obviously don't have server options or customizable servers for what you do. So they will have to come up with something that does have some form of safe zones, some form of place that players are going to have. Otherwise, they're going to be restricting an entire like audience that doesn't want to play like a survival that is diehard like that. Which in that case, we'll see. Devin, real quick before we move on to the next story, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say in DayZ, it is completely separate between console. I like PlayStation and Xbox is crossplay between each other,
right?
But PC and consoles are not. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the route they go, because like PC is going to be a whole nother ball game with this kind of game.
Yeah, that's fair. Devin, tell the people at home our next story, my guy.
Absolutely. Everybody get ready to feel the fire, because House of Dragon's latest trailer brings Westeros' most powerful houses together. That's right. This is coming from Charles Pullman Moore over at The Verge. Though House Targaryen will still hold much power in HBO's upcoming House of Dragons series, the Game of Thrones prequel will also dig into the story of how the family fell from grace after years of existing in the world separate from Westeros' other classes. In the show's latest trailer, King Viserys Targaryen, Princess Rhaenyra,
Targaryen? Princess
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra.
Yeah, Rhaenyra Targaryen and Prince Daemon Targaryen want nothing more than to further ensue that their family's control over Westeros' other power players remains intact. But the Targaryen family's infighting, to say nothing of the inbreeding, creates the perfect opportunity for their conniving rivals from Houses Stark, Valerian, and Lannister to make plays for the Iron Throne and destroy the true source of the ruling family might, their magical winged beasts. House of the Dragon hits HBO Max on August 21st.
Are you guys fucking ready for the Game of Thrones like universal social zeitgeist thing to return? Are you guys ready for that?
I don't know if it's gonna return the way it did after the way that Game of Thrones ended, but I still feel like it is still gonna be a prominent topic of conversation.
It could, baby boy.
I feel like it'll be treated like Marvel now. Like it won't take over the whole world, but it'll be there, you know.
That's fair. Garrett, go ahead.
I'm watching this for Matt Smith and Matt Smith alone.
Yeah, I fucking knew you would, dude. I saw his poster and I was like, oh, Garrett's watching this. I know that. Now, Genesee.
That's a good argument, my friend.
Yep. Yep. Now, Genesee, you have not watched Game of Thrones yet. Are you gonna try to burn through it prior to? Are you interested in this at all? Like,
I mean, honestly, I was not super until literally just now when Garrick said Matt Smith. I also am a Matt Smith fangirl, so that'll do it.
Same.
So possibly. The thing with Game of Thrones is I haven't watched it because I know that as a show, like as a whole, I probably like it, but there's just so many things in it that I know I will be awful for me to watch. Sure. And so I'm kind of like, is it going to be worth it? And I don't know that it will, especially because once it came out, everyone was fucking pissed, and I know why they were pissed. And so I'm like, do I want to set myself up for that upsetness? Which probably I do kind of like making myself upset. So I don't know, maybe we'll see. Time will tell.
That's fair.
Genesee... I did watch Dawson's Creek like last year.
That's a very Genesee ass fucking show to like want to dive into. I love it. Genesee, I think you might be on the incorrect mic. If you want to just double check for me really quick. Xander, are you a Game of Thrones person at all?
So a while back, my wife and I tried to get through Game of Thrones, and I'm gonna be completely honest, we started falling asleep like with every episode.
The first couple of seasons are a little bit of a slow burn, but you have to get to season 3, dude. Like you
see, that's the thing with me. Like that's one of the reasons why we stopped watching Ozark. If you guys are familiar with that series, because like you know you get like season 2 came out, and like we watched like the first few episodes of that, and we're like, yo, what the fuck? And like, I'm a busy fucking person. Both Jackie and I are busy fucking people, and we don't have time to just sit there and waste away on something that's like, okay, when is it gonna pick up? Come on, let's get the ball rolling here. So man, I don't know, maybe.
You're gonna miss out on a lot of good content having to do that. You know
yeah. That's probably. I mean, I'll just give me the spark notes.
I mean, that's kind of how Marvel shows are. They have like a ton of ramp up to like the climactic part of the series. Same with
but I mean, that's something that I'm inherently already interested in.
Yeah,
just based on my background.
Invested. Yeah.
Genesee,
and it's a different ramp up. Like, oh, what did I do?
Go ahead. I was gonna say you were gonna chime in. Go ahead.
Oh. So okay. What's wrong with my mic now? No, I totally agree with you, Xander. And like a ramp up for the Marvel shows that are like one season right now is so different. Like the WandaVision ramp up is different than a Game of Thrones ramp up. Sure. And I also with like massive shows like this Game of Thrones has just so much content. It's so long. Right. And going into something like that, it is a commitment, and I need to be able to skip over the parts that don't matter. And you can't do that with a show like Game of Thrones because you're going to miss important things. I've been watching Shameless. That is 11 seasons. Each season has 12 fucking episodes that are almost an hour long. And I skipped through every single scene that is just Frank Gallagher. At this point, I have committed to not knowing what is happening with this man because I don't care and I want him to die.
I've heard he's like the best character in the show, though.
Yeah.
He's the worst fucking character on television.
Yeah.
That's the point. He's supposed to be. I love
I'm not saying I like the
Shameless?
character.
You know Frank Gallagher
Yes.
because he's terrible.
I watched like the first 7 seasons. I haven't continued since then.
Shameless
I'll let you
eventually
know how
became
long
shameful.
I last. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Xander.
I don't think I'm gonna last the end of it, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't necessarily blame you. Xander, tell the people at home what we have next.
Yes, sir. We got Summer Game Fest 2022 set for June 9th. This is coming from Toussaint Egan from Polygon. The Game Awards host Jeff Keighley announced via Twitter on Thursday that this year's Summer Game Fest will kick off on Thursday, June 9th. That's not all, though. In a first for Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards, which is scheduled for this December, both events will screen in select IMAX theaters across the US, Canada, and United Kingdom. This year's Summer Game Fest will once again be hosted by Keighley and feature world premiere game reveals, trailers, updates from developers and platforms, celebrity guest appearances, hopefully some more Simulu. I would love to see that. And live musical performances. Let's not have Imagine Dragons this time. Day of the Devs Summer Game Fest edition will immediately follow this year's Summer Games Fest, providing a platform to introduce innovative, independent, and diverse games to a wider audience. This is exciting. IMAX.
June 9th is my birthday, baby. Let's fucking go. Devin, before I jump to you really quick, I just want to let people know, as far as we know, me and Garrick will be doing a reaction to this live on Twitch. You guys will see us here. We're working out if we will get more of us onto this, but we will be doing some form of interaction with it. Devin, go ahead.
I was going to say, how sick would it be if their live performance were the musical guests Bring Me the Horizons, since they've been getting massive lately.
Dude, not off the table. They're everywhere these days.
Yeah,
dude.
Yo,
yeah.
I mean, they're in. Bring Me the Horizon, Mick Gordon.
Yeah. Bring Me the Horizon, Mick Gordon together. Oh.
Did they?
That was their last album.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be very wrong about this, but I believe they were musical guests for E3 the year before for Ludens. Didn't they perform Ludens at? It was either Game Awards or E3. I can't remember. Because they did that song for Death Stranding, which is Ludens, but I feel like they might have been. But
they might have been at Game Awards when Death Stranding came out, like a couple years ago, like a few years ago. Yeah, I could see that. I don't have any confirmation, but that makes sense. Which, I mean, there's the relationship right there.
Right.
You know.
See. Oh, Morbid says hydrate.
Hydrate. All right. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping I can join you guys that day. I just have to look into a couple things because of work.
Yeah, sure.
But this is exciting, right? E3 isn't happening this year, so the Summer Game Fest is taking precedent, and that's our E3 this year. You know,
exactly.
It's same time window too. And if I remember correctly, isn't the Xbox showcase just a couple days later that Sunday, just right after that?
I believe so. Bethesda? I don't know if you want to find that confirmation on that. Garrick, you raise your hand. Go ahead.
Dude, yeah. Summer Game Fest kind of has they have no pressure, right?
Basically,
with E3, this is this. Yeah. So they have. Do you think we're gonna see more new stuff out of this, or more like newer content from stuff that's already been shown at previous showcases?
I think that Jeff Keighley, if it's my guess, I think E3 has seen Summer Game Fest the past couple of years and have been a little bit shocked on how much attention that's gotten. And I think Jeff Keighley is cognizant enough to know that that E3 is feeling that pressure, and because of such, it is going to be some brand new game announcements. I feel like this is probably going to be acting as the replacement of E3 effectively. I know Xander, you raised your hand. Were you just gonna say Xbox Showcase June 12th? So I know you put that in chat, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the way you had to, Devin.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
I had another thing too. It's like 100% there's going to be a ton of new announcements, and this is taking over E3. I mean, they've already used the Game Awards showcase for major new announcements. I mean, the Xbox Series X was announced at Game Awards. You know, that's console announcements, especially big ones like this last generation. Those usually always take place at E3.
Right.
Right. And they skipped E3 and then announced it at Game Awards. So I like Keighley has over the last few years, he's already been pulling in all of his contacts and every connection he has to get his platform to have those major announcements, right? Like, you know, so I would not be surprised in the least.
Yeah, me too. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It goes to show too, like them releasing this in IMAX and select IMAX theaters goes to show as well, like the level of hype that they could be potentially planning for this. It could be a lot of fun. With that said, Xander, I see that you finally got your cable in. But also, Xander, did you plan on trying to be here for this, or do you think work's not gonna really like allow you to be able to pull it off?
I would like to see June 9th. There's also talk about potentially going back to Tennessee for a little bit this summer after Lydia's out of school. But if I'm here, I will definitely try to make it.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. You guys heard that from us. We will be doing some form of reaction to this, whether it's just me or Garrick or some of the other babies here at Good Kraken. Come in, tune in with us. That is 11 a.m. Pacific time on June 9th. We will be here for that. In the meantime, Genesee, we got one last story for the people at home. Go ahead and hit them with that.
I would love nothing more, Ernell. Okay.
Love you, Jesse. she's like, I would love nothing more.
End
Jesse,
scene.
just go.
Netflix is being sued by its own shareholders over subscriber slump. This is coming from Ryan Leston over at IGN. I can read.
ING. Interactive no games.
Alrighty. The lawsuit filed on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022, in a federal district court in San Francisco alleges that Netflix violated U.S. security laws by making materially false and or misleading statements to its shareholders. It's also claimed that Netflix failed to disclose material adverse facts about the company's business, operations, and prospects. Netflix lost a staggering 200,000 subscribers in the first months of 2020, and according to reports, it has since responded to these massive drops with targeted cuts to its animation department, as well as canning its Tudum media outlet. It's an online editorial website that only operated for several months. It also began to crack down on password sharing, hoping to increase the number of subscribers by limiting the ability to share Netflix accounts.
God damn it.
Yeah.
That's what they fucking get. Now, Genesee, I wanna hear from you on this a little bit. Have you been kind of like in the know of like the shit that's going on with Netflix and them trying to raise prices, add advertisements, like all this other stuff that's going on, and their stocks completely dropping because of such? What say you on this?
I haven't been super in the know, to be honest. I've been aware that it's happening and that they're cracking down on sharing and all of that stuff. The numbers just simply don't make sense to me. None of this makes any sense to me. I don't understand. So basically, and I don't know how to make it make sense.
Yeah, to kind of just fill you in just very quickly. So basically what happened is Netflix announced officially that they are going to be cracking down on people sharing their accounts with other people. And in doing so, they're going to be allowing people to pay an extra amount of price for them to have effectively family like ordeal. They're also offering a cheaper version of Netflix that will be running ads on their platform. Now, because they're cracking down on people being able to share passwords, and they're saying like you have to pay for this, the subscriber base like almost chopped in half over on Netflix. And so they've been seeing just an insane decline in the number of subscribers on the platform, on top of the fact that they've been canceling shows that people love after their first or second season, and just saying like, we can't justify it, and just getting rid of it entirely. So there has been a very, very steep decline in the amount of subscribers that they have over there. I don't know if that fills you in a little bit more than what you already knew ahead of time, but Xander, I got you in a second. I don't know. Do you have any extra thoughts knowing that information?
That doesn't add a whole lot for me. More so what I mean, well, it makes a lot of sense to me that when they start cracking down on sharing passwords, people leave. That makes a lot of sense to me. That's just basic human psychology. That makes a lot of sense. What doesn't make sense to me is the lost subscribers in 2020. I mean, it does somewhat because streaming services are going to be one of the first things you cut from your budget when money is hard, which was a huge issue in the, beginning of 2020. So that makes a lot of sense. But also there was an increase in people watching things at home. So the numbers don't totally add up to me there.
Sure.
It sucks because Netflix makes great content. They make quality streaming content a lot of the time. Their Netflix original movies a lot of the time slap. Their original series slap. And so they're making some management decisions, and that included in that are the shows that they cut that don't make sense. They don't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Xander, you're going to hop in. Go ahead.
So I was going to kind of come in on the flip side, where for years now, I've actually been saying, and this is just my personal opinion, Netflix original content has not been up to par in comparison to other streaming services and just other content in general. And so I've been saying for years that Netflix is declining. And that's part of the reason why they're losing subscribers. It's not just because people are sharing accounts.
Sure.
And just, when they put out that news that, okay, we're going to start cracking down on people sharing passwords and stuff like that. It was like, well, there's a reason why people are sharing passwords and stuff like that, because like there may be like one or two shows, like say Stranger Things or something like that, where, oh yeah, I'd love to watch Stranger Things, but I mean, there's not really much else on there that would really like entice me to fucking sign up for Netflix. So there's like, mind if I borrow your login so I can watch Stranger Things, and then just deuces. Like that's where I see it. But that's just because like there's not really much on Netflix for me personally, and there's been a handful of people that I've talked to that kind of feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean they kind of, Jency, I'll get back to you in just a second, okay? I feel like they kind of do the shotgun effect, right? Like they do this thing where they put out content after content after content, and one of those 10 are going to hit for a lot of people, which is kind of like it's proven effective, sure. The issue that I see them having is that they're cutting shows that did hit with people out of that scatter effect, and basically saying like, well, we can't justify it because our benchmark is here, and it just hit right here. You know what I mean? And we see that from even the games industry, that being a very big issue, where like we get the games industry has game sales numbers that they're trying to hit, and they say, oh, this is a big disappointment, even though that goal was just bonkers ahead of time. But the scatter effect, like, certainly, yeah, sure, they have had a lot of content that has just not been doing it, but the ones that they do are fucking phenomenal. We've seen like Haunting of Hill House, like everything that had to do with that run of story. Like we've seen obviously Stranger Things. Like we saw the Adam Project. Was that Adam Project, right?
The Adam Project, yep.
Yeah,
the Adam Project.
We saw that do
Midnight
great.
Mass.
Midnight Mass. Like there's a
The
lot
Witcher.
of there's a lot of content that is there that is very good. I just think that it's so genre different that because there's so many different people that want a specific genre of content, they don't necessarily feel like they have a wide variety amongst the genres that they're wanting. For people like, me, that I love tons of different genres, and I have, enough time to be able to watch shows in my passing moments, I'm able to consume that content, have a good time still. But I know, like, I understand too that, like, it's probably not for everybody, the things that I like, you know. Now, Genesee, Devin, I think I saw you raise your hand a little bit earlier. Were you going to jump in for a second, or?
I was just going to talk about how, like, you know, all the TV shows we just mentioned, how those have actually been like massive hits and like very zeitgeisty in a sense. Like when those shows come out, everybody's talking about them. Right. So it's like Netflix
Squid
Game definitely
even.
Squid Game,
100%. Huge that worldwide phenomenon right there.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. Like, there's like, but like, in comparison, you have like that one, like few things versus their whole library of stuff where it's just
for sure. You don't want to watch Velocipaster. Genesee, go ahead. You raised your hand. Go ahead.
I think Xander, you're absolutely right, and that like something that I feel like you're pointing out is like I, in a lot of ways, am Netflix's target audience with the stuff that they're putting out. I mean, like, I really enjoyed The Witcher. I loved Haunting of Bly Manor. I loved, like, so many of those things that we talked about hit for me. But I'm also like a huge when Netflix is making content, they're trying to see what is going to hit the most amount of people, but also who is their main base that's going to be able to sit and watch a lot of their content and is always going to want to subscribe. And a lot of times that hits to like people who are going to be home a lot. So maybe people working at home, but like housewives, like, you know, that's like an outdated idea now, but like people who work from home or watch kids at home and stuff like that. People who are in school and have more time to watch TV and stuff like that. My interests overlap with that hugely. Bridgerton, I am a part of that statistic. You know what I mean? Right. All of that shit. Like
as is Emily Queen Jackie.
In Paris. Emily in Paris fucking hit for me. And I gave like maybe
Grace and Frankie.
Like a week of my I love Grace and Frankie, but I can't like sit and watch it through. I like every once in a while, like normally I'll watch that with my sister because my sister's like, Genesee, you are Grace and Frankie. And I'm like, I know, but it's not something I can like, it's not something that will like keep my attention, but like there are just so many things like that I'm very much in the target audience for them. They also have like a really good concentration of queer programs, whether TV or movies, and they have a really good proportion of programs in Spanish that are actually like really, really good. One of my like most recent favorite movies is actually a Netflix original in Spanish. The English translation is Through My Window, and it was a fucking banger of a movie. Yeah. Well, banger of a rom-com. I don't think you guys would like it, but
banger of a rom-com.
We're quite into it. But yeah, so I think it really depends on like what you're going to a streaming service for. And I think that's what you're identifying, Xander. That's head on, is a lot of people aren't going to Netflix for what they're putting out.
Yeah.
That's fair. I get it. I want to let everybody at home know that main big segment here. We have lots of goodies that we're going to be getting into here in a second. But before we do, I want to remind everybody that they can support us over on patreon.com/goodkrakenshow, where they can get early access on this episode. They can ride into the show. They can get this episode ad-free. They can get all sorts of goodies in the near future. Then you hear us talk about bullshit after the shows that we do in our post-show content. But if they're hearing this, they aren't on our Patreon. So for now, here's a word from our sponsors. This piece of good Kraken content is brought to you by Glide mouse pads. The world is changing, and the demand for PC gaming and work from home setups has never been as wild as it is right now. Having the best of the best in PC accessories only makes it easier to get your work done before you jump right back in to the fray of the digital sea. And Glide knows exactly how to make that happen for you. Glide Mousepads is the future industry leader in mousepads, offering beautiful, smooth, waterproof products made with eco-friendly materials and non-slip rubber in a variety of sizes that are guaranteed to help you get that next win. I've got one of these bad boys in my office at work. I've got one here at my desk right now. Devin's got one. Xander's got one. This bad boy is silky smooth, silkier and smoothier than even the silkiest of smoothies or soy milk or what have you. You can go to glidemousepads.com right now and use code Kraken for 15% off the Founders Edition mousepad in every size available. Again, that's code KRAKEN Kraken for 15% off any Founders Edition mousepad today. Our next sponsor is Rogue Energy. Late nights are pretty much commonplace for all content creators, and anyone here at GK can attest that late nights are kind of our only nights. Luckily for us, though, Rogue has figured out exactly how to give those late nights and even earlier mornings the supercharge that we all need. Rogue Energy is a low-calorie, no-sugar energy formula that is the perfect alternative to sugar-filled canned energy drinks and sodas. Every formula Rogue Energy produces is designed with optimal levels of high-quality ingredients and no chalky textures. Again, we don't want that. We don't want that. Being the only gaming drink company in the world with 4 unique product lines to suit your task at hand, Rogue Energy strives to improve the in-game performance of gamers, streamers, and content creators around the world. Now, I know that we've been riding this train for a long time. You might be tired of us talking about this. You might not be tired of us. You might want to just support us anyways. And you know what? For those that do support us, we love you. But the best way to support us right now is to grab yourself a big old cup of Joe. When I say Joe, I mean this Rogue Energy stuff. I need you waking up first thing in the morning with a big old shit to get a big old shit going. Oh, wow. You grab your Rogue Energy cup. Okay, you dip that you just scoop that bad boy right on there. You give that bad boy a shaky dakey, you know what I'm saying? And then you're out the dang door, okay? You need this beverage in your life. I cannot express that enough. You can head on over to rogueenergy.com and use code GKRAKEN for 10% off any purchase of shaker or formula tub of your choosing. That's GKRAKEN for 10% off any shaker or formula tub that you would like. Now, back to the episode. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a janky fucking moment there where my computer just, it stroked. It had a stroke. Unfortunately, that's where we are now in the year of 2022, where computer systems will just fucking fail you for no goddamn reason these days. You know what I'm saying? Right, Devin? Tell them.
Yeah, it's true. It's happened to me before. 100%.
I hate it here. Fucking hate this place. But thankfully, as Garrick was pointing out before we so diligently came back to stream, is that thankfully that happened during the ad break and not in the middle of us talking about something very, very important. With that said, let's just go ahead and fucking get into it, baby. I don't want to take any more time complaining about technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying? Garrick, can you tell the people at home what our next subject is here?
Absolutely, and you better protect your neck. Because we're headed to the Gallows.
Protect your neck.
Protect your
I love how
neck.
I just started saying that, and you guys are
It's
all
a good one. It's a good one.
It's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, it's a fucking good one, dog. I love it. I love it. Guys, today we are talking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness review. Oh, God, we are so fucking excited for this one, dudes. So fucking excited for this one. Released May 6th, 2022, with the director of Sam Raimi hitting us with that bullshit. Let's fucking go, baby. A budget of $200 million, not 200 and $200 million.
$200 million.
And a global box office so far of $229.3 million. And a runtime, lastly, of 2 hours and 6 minutes. Good, short and sweet. Short and sweet. Kind of really gave it to us having a run there closer to the 3-hour mark, which is a little weird to take. I'm sure we'll be talking about that later. Some trivia for you guys. The first Marvel movie to be specifically credited as a quote-unquote Kevin Feige production, as well as the first time in his 41-year career as a director that Sam Raimi has taken a possessory credit, i.e. a film by Sam Raimi, on one of his films. Ooh, that's fucking cool. That's fucking cool. Mm-hmm. This film, Spider-Man No Way Home 2021 and Thor Love and Thunder 2022, were all filmed at the same time. Spider-Man No Way Home in both New York City and Atlanta, Georgia, Thor Love and Thunder in Sydney, Australia, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in England. Next, we have Sam Raimi initially didn't want to direct any future superhero films, having lost faith in himself due to the critical and audience backlash he received from Spider-Man 3 due to the studio interference from Sony. However, getting the call from his agent about this film, Xander's like, that tea, about this film encouraged him to try again, as he had thoroughly enjoyed the first Doctor Strange film, as well as the character himself, and wanted to see if he could live up to the challenge of meeting the audience's expectations once again. I would say he did. When Scott Derrickson was going to direct, he had plans of debuting Namor the Submariner in the film. Namor and Doctor Strange were allies and members of the superhero team, the Defenders. Namor will instead make his debut later on in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Wait.
Okay. Yo, wait, what?
Yeah. No, I heard that last part, and I just had this whole like explosion of theories with everything recently.
Yeah, there's a thing, man.
That's it. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like Wakanda like having issues against Atlantis is kind of like what they were talking about in talking about this and the announcements for. We'll see. It's gonna be fun. In April 2022, Saudi Arabian film censors demanded a 12-second long scene in the film to be cut in order to be released in local theaters. This scene in question mentions America Chavez's or Xochitl, I think is how it's pronounced, if I remember correctly, Xochitl Gomez, their lesbian parents. However, Marvel and Disney refused to cut any scenes from the film, causing uncertainties on whether the film would be released in Saudi Arabia at all. Way to have some fucking balls, finally, Disney. Goddamn.
For real.
It's almost like when you stand on the wrong side of social issues, you don't get to enjoy good things. Crazy.
Yeah,
What a concept.
Yeah.
Almost
wild,
like
guys.
that, yeah.
Fucking wild. Guys, let's get into it. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Garrick, I want to start with you here, actually. What were your thoughts on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness?
Ooh, top level thoughts, Multiverse of Madness. This was a very exciting film. And I think the reason it got to be as exciting as it was is actually due in part to the runtime. It uses very little exposition, surprisingly, and it just literally it is a romp. It is a 2-hour, 6-minute just romp, and it's beautifully messy in a sense. And as you might expect, when you honestly, I was not expecting something with multiversal travel to be perfect, right? There's just no way. There's just too many things. You can't please everybody in that department. But everything that we got out of that film either straight up subverted an expectation that I thought I had made for myself based off of the trailers that I had seen, and it went straight up a different direction. There were several visual moments where I was literally picking my jaw off the freaking floor. And I think we can pretty safely put to bed the debate about the Scarlet Witch's power creep and being one of the most powerful Avengers and superheroes. Like, this film really puts that to rest and then some. Things that I really thought were great about this film, just in a general sense. Sam Raimi, Ash vs. Evil Dead, any of the Evil Dead films. This has Sam Raimi's, like, it is a him film. He let that freak flag fly for 2 hours, and it has got some amazing moments because of it. This is actually probably the scariest Marvel film, I would dare to say.
Yeah, it has some moments for sure.
Hands
It's got
down.
some moments that, like, even like after just finishing Moon Knight, which has some really visceral and gritty moments as well, this actually showed more than Moon Knight does.
Moon Knight.
And it was almost it was jarring in a sense, and really unexpected in some ways with how they chose to interact with some of the characters and the way they chose to use them on screen. But I think it played out. It was a great use of character work.
Nice. I like it. Devin, let's go to you. What were your top level thoughts on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness?
I will back up how this movie just goes and goes and goes. There isn't like there's a lot of dialogue, but there isn't a whole ton of dialogue. Like, this is a very action and scene focused movie for the most part. which is especially fun in a Marvel movie with all the characters that are involved. You know, I really like the development of America Chavez, and like I thought it was a very good introduction for her. Excited to see which direction they're gonna go with her in the future. And then well, I just heard my voice back at me.
You're good. Yeah,
Sorry.
I had to pop open the browser for a second. Go.
But yeah,
Continue.
it was a very fun movie. There was, I mean, Sam Raimi was everywhere on it, you know, with the reference of Evil Dead. I also got a lot of Drag Me to Hell vibes from it. If you've seen that movie, because there's a lot of callbacks to that one, I feel like personally. And boy, Wanda, yeah. That power creep, that OP-ness, that terrifying element of the Scarlet Witch that they introduce at the end of WandaVision and carry over into this movie. It was very good. Like I had a ton of moments where I was looking over at Ernell and my mouth was dropping. I was like, oh my God, they're doing that. Yeah. But it was very fun. The runtime was good. I felt like it kept the pace like leveled out with some exciting moments throughout the whole movie, and I thought it was really good character development for Doctor Strange specifically. Even though we've already got him in a few movies now, you know, and I thought they had a good deep dive onto just his feeling as a person, you know, because you notice there was a focus around that, and so I like that element.
Very nice. Genesee, what were your top level thoughts on Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness?
My top level thoughts were it was definitely scarier than I was prepared for. I am the family scaredy cat here at GK, and I don't know if I screamed. You guys would be the authority on that, but I definitely yelped a little bit and like jumped. There were literal jump scares for me. Like a lot happened. Other than that, just phenomenal movie, and it wasn't like so scary that I couldn't enjoy it. It was very, very well done. It was a very good movie, and this movie had character development coming out of its ass. As both of you have already said, it was start to finish, no pausing. I mean, the second we got into that movie, things were happening. Plot happened from the very first second. And Devin, I think you called it like there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue, but that does not mean that there were not things happening. And I mean that there was so much character development in that we didn't have to talk about. We saw so much happen in such a short amount of time. America Chavez has my goddamn heart. I am obsessed with her and her moms and the whole situation. I can't wait to see more of her. Jesus fucking Christ. Finally out here with the lesbian moms. Finally. Ugh! It's fine. I had no idea. I had no idea going into it. So it came on the screen. I don't even know what noise I made, but I was so thrilled. I made this like, I was like the loudest person in the theater, and I made this like guttural like yeep. Like I don't even know what happened. But
she did. She was like, oh, like it was pretty fucking funny.
Like, and everyone else was like silent, and like Ernell, Naomi, and I are over here like slapping each other. Like,
I love it. I love it, dude. Well, it was also too like we freaked out when we noticed the pin on her jacket. And we were like, oh my God, oh, they're gonna fucking do it, they're gonna do it. Like we were so excited about it, dude. It was, oh my God, that was so much fun.
It was so exciting. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful movie.
Xander, go ahead.
All right, so I actually took the time to like, as soon as the movie was over, I wrote everything down. So I'm gonna go off of that. Sure. And now I will start off by saying I have heard from some other people some of their grievances with this film. So I will say, as a movie on its own, I can understand where some people kind of had some issues, whether it be like the writing or stylized movements that were very different than what we've come to expect from a MCU film. But that's actually what I like about it. We've officially gone from the semi-believably realistic style of Iron Man into the deep cuts of Marvel Comics. And with that, directors are being given some more creative freedoms to really make it their own, and it shows. Like, this is a Sam Raimi-ass film through and through. And much like the comics have different vibes with different writers and whatnot, the films are starting to end up being the same way. And I'm so here for it. But I would also like to mention that this is, quite honestly, the most violent MCU film to date. And it really pushes that PG-13 rating. So I have nothing but high hopes for the future of the MCU if they're moving this route. Now, I did mention some of the minor issues as a film in general. It's very much a wild ride from start to finish, like you guys said, with very little breathing room. So I do think maybe like an added 20 minutes throughout to allow for some exposition for maybe some of the audience that aren't the hardcore Marvel fans like we are, that have consumed every bit of MCU content from the start of the pandemic, because there is a lot that relies on previous Marvel properties. So I can understand, like, if you're just going in completely blind, you haven't spent any time on Disney Plus, I can understand a little bit of confusion there. But yeah, no, like, I think maybe just a little bit more for exposition and just time to process some of the just madness, for lack of a better term, that happens in this film.
You did not.
It would have made
an
an
that
absolute
you worked
knockout.
that in twice.
Twice now. It's twice now. He made it happen. Yeah. This motherfucker.
And also, like, as I mentioned, like, off stream before, some of Raimi's creative choices at first were a little questionable. But then, like, as I thought about it more, it felt more nostalgic, and thinking back to the Raimi days of Spider-Man and stuff like that, I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of just like warmed my heart after a while. But lastly, I wanted to mention the score. Danny Elfman hitting the fucking there. It's so nice when you hear a rock style guitar riff in a film and it's not used as like some kind of like on-screen gag or gimmick. It's actually a part of the genuine score, and it is so dope. Which is very fitting, because there are some parts of this movie where I literally look over at Jackie and I'm like, that was metal as fuck. Like, I'm so here for it. I'm so fucking here for it, and I need more of it.
Yeah. So I liked this movie. I didn't necessarily love it though. And I think that's kind of just reflective in my overall thoughts here, is that I think that this movie does a lot of things very, very well. It is unabashedly Sam Raimi. It is Sam Raimi as fuck. It is very, very Spider-Man 1 in 2022, and that is for better or worse. and I feel like that a lot of the issues that a lot of people would have is mostly the Sam Raimi issues. The weird fadeaway montages, the Dutch angles that he loves to use, the little dialogue moments that are supposed to be a little bit cheesy, but like in that sort of campier direction. There's a lot of stuff that he does in this movie that is pretty classic Sam Raimi, and if you go into this not having had liked a Sam Raimi movie in the first place, you're gonna have issues with this movie. And I think a lot of that is just a preconceived understanding of like what Sam Raimi means as a piece of artwork for him, because there are some moments that Sam Raimi having his name on this and having his hands in what this movie is incredible. We see some moments that are fucking horrifying. We see some moments that are brilliantly well done in that factor, as far as the way that it's lit and the way that they handle those camera angles with those characters to kind of give us how they're feeling in the moment. But then there's other moments that are like weird exposition that wasn't necessary, just for the sake of being campy. There were some moments that like we probably could have been done without, as far as interactions between Doctor Strange and America Chavez. Generally speaking, I'm actually in an opposing boat with Xander, where because of the length of this movie, I feel like there was actually too much exposition. And if they would have committed to having the movie be longer, then sure, I think the exposition would have been necessary. But for 2 hours and them sort of kind of trying to burn through it and get to this like big climax, I feel like the entire first act was really, really slow. Like their climb to getting us to the second act, I feel like was a bit more than it probably should have on the exposition side. But once it does climb and it gets to that peak in the second act, I feel like the rest of the movie is bam, 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 and we're fucking going. And it is just amidst chaos the entire rest of the damn movie, and that made up for the first act for me personally. I think actually both my biggest smile out of this movie as well as my biggest disappointment with this movie is actually America Chavez. And I think it is phenomenal that they have her in this movie and they use her as a form of representation in it. And her character basis in this movie is so much fun. She's a very fun character to have with Doctor Strange. I don't feel like they did enough with her. I feel like she could have been not in this movie at all and it would have been the same movie. They kind of use her a little bit as a means to an end rather than use her as character development. And that kind of bums me out a whole lot because they kind of give us a little bit of snippet with her story and we're like, yes, we want that. And then the rest of the movie is just Doctor Strange saving her. And that bummed me out a whole lot. The lower keynotes that I have with America Chavez in this movie is I wanted more of her, and I wanted more of her character from the comic, and they changed a lot about her from the comics. She is supposed to be a pansexual teenage, dark-skinned Puerto Rican girl, and in this, she's a arguably Mexican woman from another planet, another universe, potentially. And that, like, level of representation with her moms is dope. I wish they would have just taken it the extra step further and just committed to giving us the America Chavez from the comics, who would have been just an ample amount of representation and would have been incredible to have, but I can also see why they did not do that as far as having so much character dynamic. Who knows? Like, maybe they will backtrack on some stuff. Maybe they'll explain some things a little bit better in the future. Who knows? Overall, though, yeah, I liked this movie for what it gave us, but I did not necessarily love it. With that said, guys, let's kind of open up some bars here. Genesee, with that subject of me ending off on my thoughts here, let's talk a little bit about those conversations around the representation really quick. I don't know, because I saw you make some reactions there for a second. What were your thoughts to what I was saying about America Chavez?
I think those are just overall really, really great points. I had a kind of similar thought when we were sitting there in the theater, because in the comics, like, yeah, she is Puerto Rican, and I was so excited to come in and have a really strong, like, Latin American character, and then we get there and she's from a different planet. Well, I don't know if she's from a different universe, and we don't really know what.
It just looked like a different planet, right?
Like, it looked like a different planet,
right?
And then when I was sitting there, I was like, well, can we call her Latin American? Because we don't know if they have Latin America. Like, we don't know what colonization was like in that universe.
Sure. Fair.
I was like, I don't know what to call her. She's probably not from Puerto Rico or Mexico, because she's from a different universe, maybe planet. I don't know what their countries are like.
Yeah.
And so I think we don't need explanation on that, but we need explanation on, like, her universe and what it was like, and where was she from in that, and, like, their context there. And that we need, and there's plenty of room for them to give it. I think that if they had gone too far into that in Doctor Strange, it would have been a little bit odd, because it wasn't her movie, it was Doctor Strange's movie. So to me, it makes sense that it was about how he fits into her story rather than the other way around. As far as her being pansexual, as soon as I saw the pin on her jacket, I was like, oh, finally. And I don't think that that's out of the question.
It's not. Yeah, you're right.
It here. And she's a new character. She's young. I feel like, and so this is actually something I love about what Marvel is doing in this phase, and when they're rolling out the Young Avengers, is that most of them, their sexuality is very ambiguous. Kate Bishop, don't know. America Chavez, don't know. We just know she has gay moms. Like, and who else? I mean, just so many other ones. The only one that really has, like, a defined sexuality, and even then it's not defined. We just know that Spider-Man likes girls. We know that much,
right?
You know,
Sure.
And so I think that they are purposefully leaving a lot of room for those characters to either stay ambiguous or to grow into those conversations as Marvel is stepping up and growing some more balls. Also, generationally, the new Avengers cannot all be straight. They cannot all be cisgender. It just doesn't track. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Based on the demographic that they're representing, it doesn't make sense to me in that sense. Sure. And that's not even like, I think when we talk about representation, we talk about representation in kind of two ways of like, one is like bringing representation to groups who have not historically had representation, and then representation of like actually accurately representing the stories that you're telling. Sure. And I think this question of sexuality and race and ethnicity and gender and all of these things all fit into that. And fit into both of those questions. So for me, I think that she very well could be pansexual. Also, as the child of two lesbians who is pansexual, please give it to me. Please. It happens.
Please.
Yeah.
Now, Xander brings up in chat over here, America Chavez is from the Utopian Parallel. She spends a lot of time in New York prior to ever being found by Doctor Strange. That's more so what I mean. It's like she has a lifestyle that's very similar to Miles Morales in that sense, and the same form of representation in that way. That's kind of more so what I was looking for. But thank you, Xander, for that information, because I actually didn't even know that. Devin, you raised your hand for a second. Did you want to chime in on that? You're muted, dog.
Whoops, sorry. I have this thought and I've been thinking about it. So like it's, you know how they very much attach directors to a character's arc now. Like, you know, Taika Waititi is doing all of the Thor stuff now. They've had James Gunn do all the Guardians, you know, and so on and so on. Do you guys see them attaching Raimi as the Doctor Strange director now after this movie?
Yes,
100%.
Yes and no from me. Xander, why do you feel like 100%?
So I think this film very much builds upon the zaniness of Doctor Strange from the comics, and I feel like Sam Raimi is the guy to bring that to life. Especially with some of the, you know, also those who haven't seen it, stick around. There are 2 post-credit scenes, but there is some stuff that happened in that are just like, in and of itself, pretty zany, and something that we have not really seen in the past. So I think Sam Raimi is definitely that guy to kind of push the bounds of Doctor Strange as a character. Apologies if you can hear Lydia screaming in the background.
No, you're good.
But okay, yeah, I think she's being a giant or a monk or something like that. But but no, I really think based on Sam Raimi's past with film, he's the number one guy to go for the future of Doctor Strange.
Sure. Okay. Garrick, I wanted to actually throw that your way a little bit too. Like, there's a lot of CG choices that are made in this movie that are both fucking amazing, and then a couple that are very, like, Sam Raimi. in specifically in the first act, there's a couple, like, CG moments, and I was like, really? Like, that's what you chose for that? But then everything else in the movie looks fucking dope. Did you have any, like, moments in the movie that you feel like are, like, way more in comparison to other Marvel movies that we've gotten? Like, what's some attention you want to bring in the CG in this movie?
I think the biggest thing is, like, Raimi did not shy away from, like, the use of different CGI types and different art styles when, like, they went through, like, the multiversal travel portions of the film. Which I think is, like, it's kind of a big deal when you think about, like, the way that it implicates how we might see other characters and stuff in the future, mainly some individuals, like when there's some multiversal travel that we saw in trailers. There was a couple of flips that we got through where there was definitely a comic book animated art style. And while it was not the one that we are familiar with the Spider-Verse films, it just shows that there is definitely a place for these things to maybe cross now because of the different types of multiverses we got to see in, like, that in the bridge to the second act, right? That's when that occurred.
Right.
And, like, that was, go ahead.
No, go for it. Finish your thought.
And so I think like that's probably one of the biggest things that I like to highlight. Yeah, there was especially that first act, Ernell, when like they did a couple of like reveals and there were some odd things, and I was just like, that looks it. And it's not that it was bad; it's just so different than what we've seen formulaically because of like how Marvel. Because I think that's what's so unique about this one is the fact that like Marvel has used their formula so strongly that the formula's presence toned down the director's personal style. This is like the exact opposite of that.
Sure. Yeah.
This is Sam Raimi's style put over the top of Marvel's formula. And I think I'm just kind of piggybacking off of like what Xander said, based off of like how Doctor Strange's character worked in the comics and like some of the characters that he interacts with, and getting to see like some of like the other like versions of Strange and what that can mean. I think Sam Raimi is definitely. I actually hope he gets tied to direct at least the next 2 films to see his art, because one thing that I thought was really important about this, and I don't know if you guys made this same parallel that I did, this story felt to me like Doctor Strange's version of like Iron Man 3, where like he was dealing with his choice that he got stuck with, that he felt like was the choice he had to make in Infinity War and Endgame, and we're now getting to see like how he's dealing with that, the same way that we got to see Tony Stark deal with like the fact that he literally had to, like, almost die to blast a rocket to space and save the Earth. And so like, and we're getting to see like the implications of that and how characters view him because of the choice he made.
In like, this universe and many others.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it's literally the choice he made when he dealt with Thanos. Like it played out. It had impact on like how every version of saw Doctor Stephen Strange across the multiverse, and like with the way like we see his powers kind of like, did you notice that he kind of like different versions of him had like different stylized sorts of powers?
Yes.
Like they had different appearances and different functions as well. And I think like getting to see that and sort of the things that we got to see towards the end of that film and what it's going to mean for the future of Doctor Strange and his place in the MCU, I think he's actually going to end up being more powerful, and we'll see where that goes from there.
Sure. Genesee, I'll swing back to you here in a second. Devin, I have a question for you, but you were gonna chime in there for a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that Kevin Feige has already come out publicly and said to think of Doctor Strange as the new Tony Stark. Now he has said that and said that Strange is going to be carrying that torch for right now through these next couple of phases. So especially with like what they're setting up and what we know of America Chavez now moving forward, with Wong, we know that there's a lot of other characters that are kind of swirling in this direction now with Strange, whether they're like with him directly or indirectly because of the way that paths are going to be crossing. And to think about everything he saw on this journey too, like everything, he's probably going to be implementing something very similar here soon. And I think that's going to be our focus. And we've all seen the stories, how that Endgame was quote unquote the last Avengers movie, right? We've seen all those things come out. So we're probably going to start seeing those different kinds of teams come into play. We're probably going to get young Avengers. We know that that's in play. We might get some sort of the Illuminati in our own 616 now, as well, since it is known about, and we know the other movies that are coming here in the future. And Defenders is we see Defenders, right? So it's like we might even see Defenders start to be a prominent thing, and that's why Disney is also owning, the Defenders series and other series that were originally released on Netflix. But that was just one other thing I wanted to add in there.
Sure. Genesee, go ahead. You're gonna chime in.
These are just like overall like amazing points from everybody, and I really, something that Garrick was talking about, like when you introduced the idea of of this being his Iron Man 3, and then Devin talking about like him being the new Iron Man, as Kevin Feige has said. I think that's we all know how I feel about Iron Man. He's not my fave. Yeah. And I think that's something that this movie did that makes him a very, very different character than Iron Man. Is a major theme in this movie is him and his narcissism, and it's talked about, and it's faced in a lot of different ways. And I think that that's something that I feel Iron Man never truly did.
Until Endgame, right? Like the very
until Endgame. And it was I'm big on characters earning their story, and I feel like Iron Man did not work for that ending. He got it, and that's great, and I'm happy for him and his fans that they got that ending that they did. Doctor Strange, I mean, this movie is all about characters earning their ending for me. They all like worked really hard, whether they got a good outcome or a bad outcome, they earned that shit. And it was just, that was amazing for me. I like, that's a place that I feel Marvel doesn't up until this phase has not gotten well. They're kind of, things just happen to the characters and they get places and they don't always earn that. But from WandaVision to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Loki, everything, and I'm not a huge fan of Loki. Loki earned his story in his show. Like, I mean, it didn't fully make sense to me how we got there, but like he earned it. He worked
gator.
hard to get there.
It was the fucking the alley.
The gator cake.
The gator cake.
Oh, the gator Loki slapping it.
Just slapping that gator meat. Xander, go ahead, pop off real quick.
That I was gonna say that just makes me think of the meme that's going around right now that Phase 4 is all about emotional damage.
Very much so. Very much so.
By the way,
which actually segues perfectly into the question I was actually going to toss to Devin. This movie does. If there's anything that this movie does really well, is it ties up a lot of loose ends that we've gotten from Loki, from WandaVision, from the last Doctor Strange movie, from Endgame, even from No Way Home. It ties up a lot of those loose ends there. One of the things that it very, very much talks about too is not just Doctor Strange, but this is just as much a Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff movie as it is a Doctor Strange movie. Do you feel like that they did justice with her character having that sort of coincide with Doctor Strange in this movie?
Yes, because I mean the characters are very relatable in a sense. Just like we could go as to layman terms as possible and just go power based, background based, right? Mm-hmm. They're relatable in a sense. This movie does in a way feel like a direct sequel to WandaVision. It really does.
Yeah.
I feel like if we're touching on that fact real quick, if we had 20 extra minutes in this movie, I would have liked to see something more incorporated from WandaVision into this movie as well. I can't say anything without it being spoilers for the movie though.
Sure.
In that light. But I am still questioning what we have in the future based off of the ending as well.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we're all in that point too. Mm-hmm. Because I'm choosing my words wisely for all y'all. But if you would like to know, I'm sure we're gonna do a post show here in a few minutes. But it does feel like a sequel to WandaVision, very much so. And you see a lot of Wanda at the end of WandaVision. You see her carry that whole performance into this movie and actually build off of it too. And I just want to say Elizabeth Olsen is very good at conveying emotion in her character.
Yes.
Huge props on that. Mm-hmm. Like she did a great job. She we talk about perfect Marvel castings all the time, and granted she has been around for a while, but she is just fucking hit it on the nose when it comes to Scarlet Witch.
And I know a lot of us were worried about that at first, right? Because what we got in Age of Ultron. But like I feel like she's over time like earned her keep there, because she does. She very much displays anger and sadness and vulnerability in a way that we haven't seen from a majority of the other Avengers characters, the other Marvel characters that we've gotten so far. And she knocks it out of the park every goddamn time. Xander, you're gonna chime in. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I did want to mention, in the vein of the future of these characters, it has been made public knowledge that Elizabeth Olsen has signed on for another like 7 movies, or so.
Damn.
And
Really?
as of today, I saw that Benedict Cumberbatch in a recent interview had stated that he is whole hog ready to go on for another 10 years.
Benny,
So-
come, let's go.
See, like I said,
So I do want to mention that.
like I said, he's going to be our next Tony Stark. You know, with that being said, the fact that she has signed on for these movies, you know, I have seen the thing how she says she wants to say that line, "No more mutants."
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that she's already talking about that, because I mean, from the trailers, you know that Professor X is in this movie.
We need that House of M story arc to fucking happen. Basically.
Yeah.
Now
I like her
love-
being an antagonistic protagonist. You know, I like that idea.
Now, Genesee, earlier on, you kind of froze up. I couldn't tell if you were stretching or if you were raising your hand, but if you were going to chime in, go ahead. Yeah, okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
I love the way that Elizabeth Olsen interacts with her character. I mean, we saw it when in WandaVision when she got to do so many different fun costume things from the comics. I feel very similarly to her as I do with Henry Cavill in The Witcher. I mean, he interacts with the lore behind The Witcher, and he's so invested in the different ways that his character can go. And not to say that other Marvel people don't do that, because they do, but I feel Elizabeth Olsen is really out here like being a fangirl for Scarlet Witch. And I think that that's what ultimately makes her such a good casting for it, is that she is just as invested in every part of her story and every version of Scarlet Witch that we can get as we are.
Yeah, she's been very vocal about that in her interviews.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Garrick, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, like, you know, it's definitely been kind of interesting, like knowing that like Benedict Cumberbatch has said that he's like willing to go for like the next 10 years, because there's definitely like you can literally feel like he's like the eye of the storm of like this phase, right? Mm-hmm. You can like the characters are swirling around him the exact same way that characters swirled around Iron Man in our first 3 phases, and that's really exciting to see. Namely because like there was definitely a time where Doctor Strange was the leader of the Defenders, and like there's a lot of characters that like get into a realm where like we start talking characters that like just have the capability to beat the ever-loving turds out of the Avengers, like in terms of like raw power. Like we're talking like Nova, Sentry, Adam Warlock, all these characters that are just Moon Knight that have literally showed up. Moon Knight beat the Avengers, all of them.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He can beat Thor. Like, so everybody knows Mjolnir is made out of moon rock.
Yeah,
Moon Knight. He controls
so, like,
the moon.
It's just
granted though, it's technically not 1 against like 7. It's more like 3 to 5 versus 7. But I digress.
But still, it's that uniqueness of character and the fact that like I'm so interested to see what they choose to do with this, because Benedict Cumberbatch is like Doctor Strange is he's a different kind of leader than Tony Stark is. Mm-hmm. And like he has a lot of hubris in the same way that Tony Stark does, but he's I feel like there was always like a sense of compassion that that Strange had in his character that like Tony lacked.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
And a lot of that comes from like Steven's pretty frequent loss. Like Tony, like even when Tony gets kicked when he's down, like he's still like he's still a billionaire playboy philanthropist at the end of the day, right? Yeah. And like there was a time where Doctor Strange, like when he got kicked when he was down, he lost everything. And so his character's in like a state of rebuilding who he is. And like it'll make him a very interesting leader to the plethora of characters we've seen as of recent.
Very much so. Xander, you gonna jump in before I get into the outro stuff here? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that I think with that, Doctor Strange's compassion, I think it stems from his previous life as a surgeon, as a doctor. Because I mean, I don't know anyone who really goes into becoming a doctor with the sole purpose of just making money. I think that just happens like over time. Because initially, the sole purpose of becoming a doctor, becoming a surgeon, becoming anyone in the medical field is because you want to help people. You want people to get better. And I think that is starting to come out more in his character development.
That and the teachings that he has to take in Camertage, like when trying to become Sorcerer Supreme, and through his teachings that he had there, and not to mention too the Sorcerer Supreme, the the Supreme Taco in the first Doctor Strange movie, the teachings that they gave to Doctor Strange as well were super pivotal to his character arc. Go ahead, Genesee.
I just think that like I'm really excited for you guys are all like hitting the nail on the head with how much everyone is circling around him in Phase 4, and especially I think the Young Avengers is going to be a big deal cuz he's basically Daddy Strange. Like him in Spider-Man No Way Home, him and America Chavez, like I'm ready.
Ready? I'm ready for some cummy daddy Benny comes.
No, like for real. And like he wasn't in Hawkeye, but like Daddy Hawkeye, you know what I'm saying? Like it's basically we're having the Young Avengers and we're having Mommy Daddy Avengers. Like I'm game.
Devin, go ahead. Jump in real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. It's a lot of the Young Avengers characters are all based in the Northeast. Kate Bishop's in New York. Doctor Strange is the protector of the New York Sanctum. That their paths can definitely cross. We know that Patriot is not too far away from there either, as well. They've already introduced him. I mean, guys, we can all speculate. We don't have to go into speculation right now, but we see what they're doing. We see what direction they're going, and it makes me really excited. We had Charlie Cox in No Way Home. They're establishing that foothold right now, and I think we are going to see some sort of new version of the Defenders moving forward here soon.
Well, I mean, there's like 8 different things happening at the same time. It's not even just the Defenders. Yeah. It's also Young Avengers. It's also Galactus. It's also this. It's also that. There's like a million different things happening at the same time, and that's why we were talking about before. It's hard to because there's a lot of whiplash here. There's a lot of fucking whiplash happening the last 5 pieces of Marvel content that we've gotten. Yeah. It's insane to think about how many different avenues they're going down simultaneously, because we're not in phase 3 or phase 2 where these lanes are kind of going, and then eventually they're going to cross and kind of dive into this ultimate one thing that everybody's sort of getting pushed to. We're now splitting off, and there's 8 to 10 different stories happening that are all going in different directions, that are sort of splitting, and then we can see at this sort of end 18,000 miles down the road where they're trying to potentially get to. Ultimately, that's Galactus, right? And we can kind of feel that sort of happening potentially. I know, Xander, you have that look. I know, and there's even a step. There's a step beyond that too. I know, and it's just crazy to think about how many just strings they're pulling at once. To think about that. Anyways, we could go all day talking about what the future could potentially be in Marvel right now. But what I want to do, Devin, what is your rating of this movie, and should people go see it right now?
So, as we said before, it's not a perfect movie, but it is still a good movie.
Sure.
I give it an 8.5.
All right. Should people see it right
away? Absolutely go see it. Absolutely. 100%. It's still a very pivotal movie that sets up a lot moving forward. And as Ernell mentioned earlier, it does close a lot of loose ends from the last couple phases too.
Sure. Genesee, should people see this movie right away, and what do you rank it?
Yes, absolutely. My father needs to watch it yesterday because I can't talk to him until he watches it.
Correct.
And
you don't have a dad.
I think
until he's watching, you don't have a dad until he's watching. Continue.
Yeah, I was talking to him last night on the phone. I was like, "Dad, get your ass to the fucking theater." He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Get your ass to the theater." 8.5. I think that's on the nose. 8.5.
All right. Garrick, should people see this right away? And what is your rating?
Absolutely. I'm even going to dare to say that this might actually be the most unique entry to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in terms of films. I'll say that. That'll be my opinion, not the GK opinion, but I'm gonna own it. I think this is a very unique Marvel experience. Not perfect, but it is worth every they worked well with the 2 hours 6 minutes they did. 8.5.
Okay, Xander, should people see it right away? What is your rating?
Right away, depending on who you are, no. Go watch the last 2 episodes of WandaVision first and then watch the movie. I think that will provide a decent amount of context with some of the happenings in this film. But if you have caught up to WandaVision at least, then yes, absolutely. Go check this out. You're going to want to see every little bit of it. You're going to want to talk spoilers with us for sure. I'm going to give it a solid 8. Just to be different a little bit, but also because I think it could use a little bit of improvement in terms of pacing and a little bit of the writing. But ultimately, solid film.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Xander. I think that that if you have seen all the Disney Plus shows so far, absolutely you should see this movie right away. If you have not, you absolutely need to see WandaVision and maybe even Loki before you dive into this to kind of really get a grasp of what's going on in the story. I am also going to give this an 8 myself. I do think that although it does some very, very incredible things, and it is definitely, I agree with Garrick, the most unique entry into the MCU. At this moment, I do think that there's some things in it that are very dependent on past pieces such as WandaVision and Loki, and that can make it not stand alone very well. And I also think some creative choices were more on the interesting side rather than things that I feel really carried the story along. So it's official, guys. 8.5. We always rank up a little bit on average for this, so we have an 8.5 from official Good Kraken rating for this, guys. Guys, what a movie. What a movie. What a time to be a Marvel fan. You know what I'm saying? We love it. We love it here. Y'all, next week for our schedule for GK on Tuesday, we have the Good Kraken podcast. We are doing a full-on spoiler-free review of Moon Knight from Disney Plus. We're gonna be talking that next Tuesday. I believe that's gonna be me, Devin, and Garrick. That's gonna be a lot of fun for that one. We'll try to see if we can get some write-ins from Xander, not Genesee, because apparently Genesee hasn't watched it yet, and she absolutely fucking has to. Shame on you. Shame on you. What a show. Shame on you. You know what I mean?
I will.
Shame. And then on
There's
Wednesday,
only 6 episodes.
Shame. Only 6
Only 6
episodes.
episodes. Only 6. Only 6.
You'll catch up. You'll catch up.
They're
On
very short,
Wednesday,
too.
we have Vermilion Voyages Trek. No, we changed that. Vermilion Voyages is actually going to be one Salt and Sacrifice next Wednesday. Garrick will be streaming that over right here at twitch.tv/GoodKraken Show. Come in, hang out for that. Salt and Sacrifice is a 2D, technically, platformer / Souls-like type of game that is supposedly a lot of fun. I've not played the Salt and Sanctuary game myself yet, but I have seen gameplay of the game, so it's going to be exciting to see Garrett come into that, and he loves this game, so it's going to be a lot of fun for you guys to come in and watch that with us. And then over on patreon.com/GoodKraken Show next Thursday, we have a Splash Damage, our first Splash Damage back since taking a week off to go see Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness. We're coming back to give you all the chaos that you
Shipwreck.
Like. Did I say Splash Damage? I put because it says Splash Damage on the thing. I fucked up. Not Splash Damage. It is Shipwreck Show. Thank you, Devin. I keep doing that. Like you doing Shipwreck Show next Thursday. Which actually that moment was entirely directed perfectly because Shipwreck is an absolute shit show.
It's a happy little accident.
It's a happy accident every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time over on patreon.com/GoodKraken Show. Come check that out. Hang out with us. So that is exclusive to our patrons. Next Friday, we do actually have Splash Damage, and we're going to be playing the Evil Dead game coming out next Friday. Evil Dead, the game. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a Dead by Daylight where instead of just playing as one little villain that's chasing everybody, you're playing as a aerial overhead god demon thing that is summoning creatures out of the ground to fight different versions of Bruce Campbell that you play as. with your friends, and it's fully crossplay. And so we're going to be diving into that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then finally, as mentioned in our thing earlier, our captain's orders come in next Saturday, where we will be hanging out with the one Michael Higham from Fanbyte to come in and talk that nerdy news with us that you love to hear, and talk to us a little bit about being a Filipino man in the games industry and how he's been since the last time we had him on. I can't wait to catch up with Mike. It's gonna be a damn good time. Anyways, guys, please let us know your thoughts on Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness down in the comments below. Let us know on Twitter. Let us know on our Discord if you have seen it. Let's talk shop about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get into the dirty nitty gritty of this movie. If you have not seen it, let us know what you're excited for. Let us know if maybe we persuaded you to go check this out, because we like to hear from you guys at home. In the meantime, y'all, this has been the Good Kraken Podcast, your choice for all the nerdy video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you wanted to hear. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 12 p.m. right here at twitch.tv/GoodKrakenShow. If you enjoyed the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/GoodKrakenShow, where you can submit questions and topics of the show, get exclusive post-show content, and have early access episodes before they go live on podcasts and video services across the digital sea.
Yes, of course.
It makes me think of Digimon.
You can also support us by going to our YouTube channel by clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation mark and leaving a review there. We do not have time to do push-up because Xander has to jump on out of here. But until next time, my friends, be good to each other.
I love Twizzlers pulling peels.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a
yikes.
statement.
Those are good.
Yikes.